Welcome to NSA E-Nuggets series, a series of live talks on topics relating to active aging. These live talks will take place every Tuesday and Friday at 2 p.m. here on C3A's Facebook page. You can share this live video with your family and friends too. After the live session, this video will be made available on both our Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to the National Civil Academy NSA E-Nuggets series. My name is Sam and I'm the lecturer for the Gerontology program at the School of Humanities and Social Sciences at Temasek Polytechnic. The topic for my talk today is my memory. What's normal and what's not? Okay, before I begin, maybe let's share with you a real story that happened to me about 10 years back. Okay, it was after a family dinner and I was going back with my wife, my baby daughter and my mother-in-law. Okay, that night I really didn't impress these ladies because I couldn't find the car and it took me really about 30 minutes before I could find it, to my relief. Okay, I was at a point where I was just thinking, what do I have to do without the car? Okay, why do you think it happened? Okay, and this, I was still quite young then. Okay, so I'll just revisit this story again later. Alright, so let me just cover the structure of my talk. Okay, first I'm going to share with you what's the difference between normal aging versus a possible cognitive impairment or impending mild or early dementia. I will also share with you what are the risks, signs and symptoms of dementia or cognitive impairment. And also cover some of the tips that you can actually apply to strengthen your cognitive skills. Okay, cognitive skills or cognition is actually a general term for a number of mental processes. For example, attention, processing speed, okay, executive function, and memory is actually one of them. Okay. So before I continue, I will just test your memory to see how good your memory is. All right. What's going to happen is that I'm going to show you a picture just for 30 seconds, right? And during these 30 seconds, you try to remember all the information that you can see in that 30 seconds. And after that, I will take the picture away and I will ask you some questions related to the picture. All right? You can key in your answers on Facebook and I will be able to see it live. All right? Are you ready? Okay, I'm going to show you the picture now. Okay, you have 10 more seconds. Okay, question time. First, how many cats did you see? Okay, feel free to comment now. Okay, I'm getting answers in now. Okay, just let me reveal the answer. All right, it's 5 cats. Okay, well done to those who have gotten the answers right. Okay, next question. How many gray and white cats did you see? Okay, feel free to comment. Okay, some of you said 2 gray, right? Some of you said 3. Okay, the answer is 2. Okay, there are actually 2 gray and white cats. Okay, let me proceed to the last question. How many cats do you think were looking to their left? Okay, it's their left, not your left. All right. Okay, thank you for those who responded. Okay, there are actually 3 cats who are looking to their left. Okay, I'm just going to show you another picture. Okay, same as before, you have 30 seconds to try to remember all the information that's shown to you in the picture. Okay, after that, I will take the picture away. And similarly, there will be some questions related to the picture. Okay, and see whether you can remember the information. Okay, you ready? Begin. Okay, 5 more seconds. Okay, question. How many types of fruits or veg were there in the picture? Okay, not bad. Some of you actually got the answer. Okay, there were about 12, yes. Okay. Let's go on to the next question. What is the fruit or veg that's positioned between cherries and eggplant? Feel free to comment. Okay, yes. The answer is carrots, okay? And yes, there's cherries and eggplants, okay? And carrots is in between them. Okay, next question. Which fruit has a tag or sticker, price tag on them? Okay, the answer to that question is bananas. Okay, only bananas has a tag, a price tag on them. Okay, the purpose of these two examples is to just to give you a flavor of how our memory works. Actually, in the environment, there is a lot more information than our brain could actually process. So I did not reveal the questions to you beforehand, so you do not know what information to focus on. Okay, so just looking at the pictures, you have to try to remember all the information that you can register or encode. Okay. After that, when I show you the questions, if you have encoded or registered the information earlier, you are able to provide the answer. But if not, it's very unlikely that you can get the answer right. Okay, this brings me to the next point on how does our memory actually work. Okay, in general, what the research have shown is that there are three steps. Okay, that are important in order for us to have successful recall of the information. Okay, first thing is register the information. As I said earlier, there are so much information in our environment, and there's too much for us to actually process. So our mind or our brain have to be selective in what sort of information they want to register, which is the first step, or we call it encode. Okay. Once you encode or you register those information, it will be processed or stored. Okay, depending on how much processing really depends on individual. Essentially, the more steps or more information that you process, the better or the more likely that you are able to recall the information at a later stage. So for example, let me bring back to my story earlier for those who tuned in at the beginning where I couldn't find my car at the car park. Okay. If at the beginning, once I park the car, I try to register the car park lot or the nearest pillar or the nearest lift lobby. Okay, these are all information that can help me encode or register this so-called memory. And then later on, when I need to retrieve or recall that information, it will make it easier for me to recall and find my car. Okay, but what happened then was I was too excited. I found a parking lot. I parked the car and I left. So it did not. I did not register the information of where my car is at the beginning. So when it's time to go home, I couldn't recall where my car was because I did not register in the first place. Okay. So all three steps are crucial for memory to work in a sense. Okay. Okay, now I talk about, earlier on I talked about how our memory works. Now I will talk about why do we forget. Essentially, as long as there's interference in any of this, one of the three steps, there's a high chance that memory will fail. Okay, so there's actually a lot of reasons why we forget the information. Okay, I'll just list them out here for you. Okay. And there's a lot here, but and what's more, it's not exhaustive. All right, there are more to it, but these are the common reasons why we tend to forget information. Maybe I'll just talk about a couple of them. Okay, first is multitasking. Okay, in this day and age, we have been bombarded with information. Okay, and we like to do many things at one time, so our attention is actually divided. Okay, and with that, the amount of information that we actually want to register to be recorded or retrieved later is reduced. Okay, so the more tasks we have been involved, the higher likely or higher the chance that we will forget information downstream. Okay, and sleep is also an important consideration. Okay, research have actually shown that sleep helps in memory reconsolidation. So naturally, if we have sleep deprivation or lack of sleep, there will be some memory malfunction in terms of consolidation of memory information. Yes, so that could explain why we forget stuff. All right. Okay, I'll go on. Okay, the next few slides I will talk about the types of examples. All right. To show you the difference between normal aging and also what could be a possible cognitive impairment. All right. Okay, it's actually very common to have this thing called forgetfulness. Okay, I have a lot of questions. People asking me, I forget this, I forget that. Could it be a sign, of impending dementia or cognitive impairment? Okay. Usually, I will tell people that actually forgetfulness is very common. It happens to everybody, young and old, regardless of age, right? So in this case, when a new person comes in and introduce him or her to you, you got the name, but it's very often, at least for me, I'm very bad at names, to recall names. So I tend to forget when people introduce themselves to me for the first time. All right, and that's actually normal, right? But what is a possible cognitive impairment is that you may ask the people around you the same question over and over again. So for example, I have two examples below. So just now someone introduced him or herself to you, and you got the name but you did not register. Okay, so in that case, there's a high chance that you may forget. As opposed to a possible cognitive impairment, people with dementia or cognitive impairment may be asking the same information over and over again. In this case, have you eaten? And then 5 minutes later, I ask the same question to the same person again. So this may give you an indication that something is not right here, right? Okay, another difference between normal aging and possible cognitive impairment is In this case, it's misplacing of your personal items. Okay, I'm sure if some of you, or if not all of you, may have episodes of misplacing your personal items like phone or wallet at home. Okay, but given time, if you think about it, you are able to retrace your steps and find your items. Okay, so that's normal. Okay, whereas we're talking about possible cognitive impairment, you may place your stuff in unusual places. Okay, in this example shown about the picture, the keys are found in the fridge. Okay, of course, when we say this, it's just possible. When things happen, when you find unusual things in the fridge, it doesn't mean that this person may have dementia or have cognitive impairment. Because maybe I just share with you a personal story. There was one time when I opened the fridge door, I found my daughter's mobile phone, okay, in one of the shelves, in fridge shelf. I was like, what is it doing here? So I asked her to come and have a look, and she was like, oh, okay, because her explanation was that she was hungry, she was holding the phone, she opened the fridge door to look for food, and she saw chocolate cookies, and in her excitement, she just placed her phone on the shelf and grabbed the cookies and closed the door. Okay, so that was what happened. All right. And it only happened once, and I have never seen that happening to her again. So in this case, depending on, if you know the individual, depending on the context, right, you make your own best judgment and see whether is it a possible cognitive impairment or not. All right, the next difference between normal aging and possible cognitive impairment is about people, time, and place. Okay, sometimes when you may be asking yourself, or someone will be asking you, what is the date today? It may take a while for you to figure out, or it could be that for that moment you couldn't remember what is the day today, right? But given some thought, you will be able to figure out later, okay? And that is normal, all right? Okay. On the other hand, if you frequently lose track of time, the day of the week, the month, or even which year is it now, then that's a cause for concern, all right? Okay, some of those people with dementia may even have issues differentiating what is the day, what is night. Yeah, even if they look out of the window. Yes. Okay, so let's go on. And over here, again, I will go back to my personal story about losing my car in a car park, right? So what is normal? So losing, or rather thinking about where you park your car, hopefully it doesn't happen frequently, okay? But again, if you lose your car in a car park, that is normal, right? Forgetfulness is normal. Okay. What is the cause for concern is that the thought of whether do you have a car, okay? Or even how do you commute today? Is it by train, by bus, by cab, or you drove? Okay, if that case you don't even recall, then that is a cause for concern. Okay, let me just share about the brain structure, right? Difference between normal aging as compared to someone with cognitive impairment. Okay, like dementia. In normal aging, our brain actually shrinks. All right, this is a fact. I was involved in longitudinal research, which is where we follow up older adults every 2 years, and we do MRI on them, okay, and we measure the brain size, and this is what we found. And this finding happens in other parts of the world as well, right? So it's not special to Singaporeans, right? So in normal aging, our brain shrinks, and the brain shrinkage differs in different parts of the brain, right? And if the region of the brain that deals with memory shrinks faster than normal, then probably you will see memory being affected. Okay, when we go on to talk about cognitive impairment or dementia or mild cognitive impairment, the brain is found to shrink at a faster rate. Okay, what we found locally is the shrinkage is about 2 to 3 times faster than normal. Okay. Cognitive impairment may even happen when there is a stroke, okay, especially when it happens in a region that is important for memory consolidation. Then, yes, memory impairment or memory loss will occur. Okay, as you know, there is actually currently no treatment for dementia, and the best way to deal with it is to prevent, all right, since there's no cure. Okay. Having said that, there's actually a lot of other medical conditions that could mimic dementia-like symptoms, all right? And it's very important to not to assume that someone has dementia or cognitive impairment just because some of the signs that I mentioned above they are present. Okay. So, for example, conditions like stroke, depression, long-term alcoholism, okay, certain infection, blood infection or hormonal disorders, deficits in nutrition, brain tumors, all these could actually have or express dementia-like symptoms. Okay, so usually the doctors will have to run various tests or assessment. First thing is to rule out all these possible conditions that may display dementia-like symptoms before they could make a diagnosis of whether it is an irreversible dementia or it is something or a condition that can be treated. So in this sense, we would actually recommend if you see or you have maybe your family members or you experience there is some change in memory or behavior, it is essential to actually get them screened and have early diagnosis, okay? Because there are actually basically the current treatment is to prolong or try to maintain a status quo as long as we can, okay? Because with dementia, the progression, the normal trajectory is cognitive decline, right? Faster than normal aging, and the current treatment now is to maintain or slow down that progression. Okay, so if we are able to have an early diagnosis, then we may be able to so-called treat have the treatment necessary to slow down that progression. Right. The current research has shown that the earlier we intervene, the outcome will improve. Okay, and early diagnosis is so important for your family members to start planning for the future. Okay. Yes, as I said earlier, doctors usually do have a complete medical assessment just to identify whether this condition can be treated if it's other medical conditions that display dementia-like symptoms, right? Or once they rule out all those cases, then they may confirm the diagnosis of dementia. Right. Okay, I have the Alzheimer's disease here, which is actually the most common form of dementia. Okay, there are other types of dementia, which you can actually find out more from the internet. Yes. So it's not all dark and gloomy. Okay, there are actually a lot of ways where you can actually reduce your risk factors, right? Regardless of age. Okay, for example, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you may already know this, but it's good to be reminded. Okay, first is to be physically active. a lot of research findings have shown that be physically active is the strongest factor to reduce your risk factor, because you can actually reduce your risk for other risk factors of dementia, for example, hypertension, which is high blood pressure, diabetes, all right, high cholesterol, heart diseases, right? Being physically active itself can reduce risk for all these other conditions. Okay. So apart from physical activity, it's also important to follow a healthy diet, all right? Okay, there's also a lot of information out there by our health promotion board. We talk about this healthy plate, and you should have your nutrients, a balanced diet, all right? Okay. And after being physically active, having a good diet, we should also not forget about having a social activity. Okay, however, in this time and age, now about social distancing, all right, it may be difficult for you to engage in social activities, but that's bear that in mind, which is also an important factor. Yeah. Okay, there are other things about your lifestyle change. Okay, be less sedentary. If you are a smoker, it will be good to quit smoking, right? And of course, challenge your brain, right? I've been involved in research even now, developing evidence-based brain training programs or tools for older adults, right? To basically keep your mind active. Okay, so the advice of use it or lose it still holds till now, right? Okay, maybe just let me share about an app that we created. I was involved in the development of these brain training games for older adults. Okay, we actually work with students from the IT diploma in game design and development. We provide the necessary brain training principles, and the computing students help us develop this app. Okay, it's actually available for free. So the QR codes are already on screen. So if you are using Android, you can scan the QR code on the left, and if you're on Apple devices, you can use the QR code on the right. Okay, there's actually a lot of benefits for when you are involved in brain training activities. All right. Okay, first thing is, as I said earlier, use it or lose it. As long as you keep your mind active, that's good, right? Improves coordination, increase brain function, right? One of the things that we also shared is that doing things is good, but learning new things is actually more beneficial for us, because when you learn new things, your brain cells actually form new connections. Okay. In order to have a good, or you call it brain integrity, structural integrity, you need to have a good connectivity between the brain cells. And learning new stuff and picking up new hobby, doing new things actually helps to your brain cells to make new connections. Okay, and as a result, it will increase brain function, slows down memory loss, hopefully. Yes, and bottom line, it helps to maintain cognitive function. Okay. Finally, maybe I'll just end off with a quiz, right? Which do you think protects the brain more? Okay, first, learning a new skill. Second, doing a morning crossword puzzle, or a weekly computer brain game. Okay, A, B, or C. Okay, let me review the answer. It's A, right? It's learning a new skill. Actually, all three can protect your brain, but if you want to choose the best of the three, I would say go for learning a new skill. All right? Okay, because it's better to learn new skills than to always do the same thing over and over again. Right? And it's good to give a brain a workout. All right? Preferably every day. Okay, so I have come to the end of my sharing, and now is the time for question and answers. So feel free to indicate your questions on Facebook, and I will try my best to address some of them, or if not, if there's enough time, I will address all of them. Okay. Okay, I have a question here by BB, okay, saying that she walks as an exercise, right? So is it better to walk 2 kilometers every day, for instance, rather than 10 kilometers a day, but only once a month? Okay. Right, so, okay, assuming you are physically active, I would say doing things on a regular basis beats cramming all at once. Okay, so if given these two options, it's better to walk 2 kilometers every day rather than 10 kilometers once a week or once a month, right? So regular is key. Okay. Okay, next question is about how about taking vitamin tablets? You may hear your friends or people around you sharing that, oh, take this, it's good for you, take that, it's actually good for me, and maybe you can, it's good for you. If I fall back to the research, all right, the scientific evidence, okay, as of now, there isn't strong evidence to suggest that we should take vitamins or supplements, okay, to boost brain health. Okay. Having said that, all right, there may be certain, some of us may have certain conditions of vitamin deficiency, then feel free, go ahead, because you are deficient in the particular vitamin, so definitely you should take that to normalize things. But if you are asking me just day to day, if you are healthy, based on scientific evidence, then there isn't a strong reason why should just take supplements daily. But I do know that a lot of older adults in Singapore actually take supplements on a daily basis, and based on my research that I have done previously, close to 80 or 90% of the older adults actually are on some form of supplements on a daily basis. Okay. Okay, our next question is about from Dave So, whether are there any health professionals here in Singapore or anywhere in the world even working on a complete cure for dementia? Okay, actually there's a lot of investment with pharmaceutical companies coming out with a cure for dementia. In fact, there's even saying that whoever comes up with a cure for dementia will get a Nobel Prize. All right? There is ongoing, in fact, for the past decade, 2 decades, there has been a lot of medical trials on finding a cure for dementia, but most of them, if not, do not really make the mark. Okay? The few that actually are out in the market now, as I said earlier, it's not really a cure to reverse the dementia, but the effectiveness has been shown to slow down the progression of the disease, maybe by 1 to up to 3 years if you are lucky. Yes. Okay, next question, does diabetes increase the risk of dementia? Yes, diabetes, hypertension, heart diseases, all these are risk factors for dementia. So if you are able to reduce the risk factors, then that would hopefully reduce the risk of dementia, right? Okay, the question from Julia, does vitamin B12 help? Okay, again, studies have shown that there is an association between deficiency of vitamin B12 levels and the risk for dementia. So what they found is people with dementia or cognitive impairment, they tend to have lowered vitamin B12 levels. Okay, B12 is essential for good cell growth. All right, but this is just an association. They did not manage to establish cause and effect. Having a low B12 level doesn't mean it will lead to dementia. Okay, so again, the evidence for B12 is not strong enough to advocate the public to have B12 supplement on a daily basis. Okay, supplement again is still does not have or rather scientific evidence does not really support the use of supplements to reduce the risk of dementia. But some people may say, hey, I have it, I've been taking B12 and seems to work fine with me. Well, I mean, if there are no side effects and you can afford it, no harm. Okay. The thing about research is that they will test a lot of people. Some may show an effect and others may not. So as a whole, there isn't a good or strong evidence to support the use of supplements. Yeah. But if individually you think it helps you, you can afford, no side effects, yes, then I leave it up to you to decide whether to continue or not. Okay, next question is from Emily, saying, my mom's friend is very worried about getting dementia. What would you say to older adults who are very fearful of this disease? Okay, again, that's a recap of what I said earlier. Use it or lose it. So be active basically, mentally, physically, socially if possible. The whole idea is to reduce the risk factors for dementia. Right? So prevention is better than cure, but anyway we have no cure. So we can only right now focus on the prevention aspects. All right? Hopefully that answers the question. Okay, maybe just take another question from Ricky. Does brain MRI results in memory loss? So this will be the last question. At the current evidence does not seem to point out that going through MRI have result in memory loss. Okay. Of course, there is still a limit. I think the authorities set a limit of about, you can go up to 6 MRI scans a year. Okay, this just as a precaution, right? But as in terms of evidence, there isn't evidence to show that brain MRI does result in a memory loss. Yes. Okay, I think we are done with the Q&A. I'm sorry I could not answer most of the questions, right, due to the time, right? Okay, so let me just share with you, we do have other workshops in the coming months, and in fact what I'm showing here on screen now, we do have the following workshops in July, right? It could be a 1 or 2 day workshop or even a 3-hour workshop. For those who are interested, could actually sign up with NSA, okay, National Civil Academy. Okay, thank you. If you wish to write to me on other questions, this is my email address. Okay, I hope this sharing is beneficial, and hope to see you again. All right, thank you.
Stay tuned for the next session of the NSA e-Nugget series, which goes live every Tuesday and Friday at 2 p.m. on C3A's Facebook page. You can check out the talk schedule at www.c3a.org.sg and for more resources on how you can age well. For more inquiries, you can call 6478 5026. Thanks for watching. See you soon.